3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? I'm AJ Capasso, host of Talking with the Source and paranormal investigator for Coventry Circle Paranormal. I'm with my good friend.
It's Robin from Haffer Paranormal. I'm talking with the source.
So the reason why he just did
Gotcha.
that, everybody, because it's absolutely hilarious. I've been making fun of him about his intro forever now. So he just came up with this new one. He's like, I got a new intro for himself. So he just had to do that. That was too funny. Irene, how are you? All the way from Japan. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. But anyway, man, so
Anthony.
Wraith World, Anthony, what's up? How are you? Appreciate you for watching, man. So I wanted to ask you a quick question, man. So I wanted to talk today about obviously the afterlife, the souls, energy, all that stuff.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, nothing about it. Yeah. Appreciate that. So I wanted to ask you, with your research, with your investigating and the stuff that you have done, what do you think is going on? What do you think is up with the afterlife? Like, what is really the afterlife?
Well, I think that it's your connection. Once you have the connection, I mean, I thought I was doing well before I met you and Steve and stuff. And when I look back now, I was doing complete and utter dog shit compared to how I'm doing now.
Yeah, but I want to ask you a question now. I want to ask, like, what do you think is going on? What is your belief of the afterlife? Like, what is your opinion on it? You've done.
I believe it's obviously it's there for anybody and everybody to grasp hold of if they want to. I believe that whenever we go, we can decide what we want to do.
Yeah, see, I like that. My little take on the afterlife. I try to put it into like almost like a scientific perspective, the best way that I can describe it in energy form. And the way that like my research has come from the private sessions that I do with spirit boxes, and I have a great connection with them from growing it. My whole thing is, like I was telling you, Robin, when we first met, like the spirits were telling me it's kind of like their reference that they use was kind of like a glass of water or a pool. And if you take a glass of water, right, that would be the source of energy. That would be consciousness. That would be the giant source of energy that we all come from and stem from, which most people would call God or, Allah or whatever, preference it would be. And these spirits kept saying that through the box, like in multiple sessions, how we are the extension of that energy, and that like our consciousness that's inside this body has so much more potential and energy, but is like basically filtered because of our brain being that filter for consciousness. And what's crazy about that is when I like pieced all of this together through like a bunch of research, it's crazy because it kind of makes so much sense when you start piecing a bunch of different things together that we already know scientifically, that's proven, like neuroscience and stuff like that. But I mean, what do you think happens on the other side? I mean, for me, it's just like, the orbs that we see. I truly believe that is the soul. That is the souls, the spirits, that they travel around as that energy, that ball of energy. And I believe that ball of energy, when it's inside of us, it's obviously, I don't know where it would be located personally, obviously, but I believe that it maybe would stretch all the way through our whole body, because if you think about it, our cells have the knowledge to heal us and to fight off all these bacteria, these viruses, these diseases, COVID, all this stuff. And it's just so immensely amazing how our body works, in my opinion. And I just want to know, what do you think happens on the other side? I mean, when I passed away, when I had my near death experience, like I told you, I went to this place that was just absolutely magnificent. Now, my question is, was I really there, or was it my consciousness energy somewhere? And in that consciousness, is there?
Whoa, whoa.
Did you see that? Did you see that? There's
Yeah,
no
the orb
there's no bug in this room. There's not a single bug in this room, which is fucking.
literally came from that door behind you and straight right in front of you.
On the left is the door that I always communicate near, which is so crazy. But not saying that's paranormal, because that probably isn't, but that's just absolutely wild. Hey, what's up, Robert? How are you?
Brother Robert.
And Irene said the spirits see everything and they know what we are doing. And I totally believe they see everything. I totally believe that they, know what we're doing. And I believe that they actually know more than that. I believe they know so much, because when I passed away and I was going through this tunnel, this black tunnel, that's what I can reference it as. I was seeing a playback of not just my life, but from beginning of time till now. So when I passed away, like, I didn't just see my life ending, I saw eternity all at once. But I was able to understand it, which didn't make any sense to me after the fact, and I couldn't tell you what I saw today. But it was just immensely amazing that that you experienced that. And I think these spirits obviously know so much more, these souls that we speak to through these devices. I think that they could really tell us so much more. But who knows? Like I said, I mean,
I think it depends a lot on your beliefs when you're living.
yeah,
I'm a firm believer that if you're, you know, if you have someone, like, let's say, if I'll try and reference an old manager of mine years and years ago over in Belfast. I'd just left school, had a manager at the place I worked in, and he was quite high up in his church. He was, he's always had his Bible with him. We would have been reading on, hello, Brian. He would have been reading on his lunch breaks and stuff like this. And, you know, I would have come in with a Def Leppard t-shirt or something like this, and he'd have been out with his book on the occult and saying to me, "Oh, you shouldn't be wearing that t-shirt. These symbols are awful." And going through this book and all this kind of stuff. And to me, that guy, I can quite honestly 1000% say that guy would have had absolutely no belief in the paranormal. He would have had absolutely nothing to do with it. So I would fully not be expecting the likes of him whenever he goes to come back and visit people. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
think you have to have it where your belief is going to give you access to whatever you want to do. Put it that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, see, it's so crazy, because when people see apparitions or see spirits, they're always in the midst of doing something or walking somewhere. Like, what are they seeing? Like, what are they experiencing? Are they experiencing the time period in the place that you are? So say it's a hotel, but like they died in 1920, say, and they're still living and seeing the hotel as 1920, or are they seeing it as it is today? And then they know when people are changing it, because obviously that's when activity stirs. But I'm just wondering, like, what is it? You know what I mean? Like, what are they actually seeing? Like, because I wonder so much, because obviously I didn't spend that much time when I passed away out of my body. I only spent like a minute 10 out of my body, and it felt like eternity. But what are spirits doing? Like, what is it? You know what I mean? And like, we're getting all this communication through these spirit boxes and stuff, and it's just absolutely wild that we're talking to something that can talk back to us. And how is it talking if it doesn't have vocal, or it doesn't have this? Is it thought? Is it consciousness through thought, where it's coming and messing with the frequency? Is it just on the frequency of it, or tuning to the frequency? Like, what is it? Is the vibration matching? Like, I'm just wondering what all of it it is. And obviously we're never going to get the answers to it till it's our time. But it's just great to
Yeah.
think.
But I mean, who's to say they haven't got vocal? This is the you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're all out there investigating. We're all out there trying to gather evidence. You know, uh, as a joint venture, we're all out there trying to get the best that we can all, as investigators, put together and make one big massive picture out of this. But what's to say that there's not going to be a load of other stuff that's you know
yeah.
not being thought of yet, that's not been proved yet, that could be proved. And we probably, as a human race, will never ever get right to the bottom of it, but who's to say we can't get close?
No, yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm asking these questions. I'm not asking, what's your name? I'm not asking, all this type of stuff. Like, I want to connect with a higher spirit. I want to connect with something higher. And I just want to, get the answers of, close to being that I can describe it to myself and I can describe it to others, as I can. And I've gotten some answers that I believe over, multiple different experiments with different people, got some answers that I believe are correct, but who knows? Like, one of them that we got multiple times through an experiment we did, and this was with someone who was multiple miles away, who got the same answers. Was they talk about they have rules in the afterlife, but one of the rules is, you can't, you're not better than somebody else. You know what I mean? You're not higher up than somebody else. You're not any of this. Nobody thinks of it like that, and you're not allowed to be like that. I don't know what happens, obviously, if you break that rule, obviously, but I'm just wondering if it's even, true, but I think it's a great rule if it's a rule. you know?
Who's to say there even is rules? This is another thing.
Yeah.
Everybody could go and could be living under, you know, this is a thought process I've had the odd time with this,
Wait, I
and
want stop you for 1 second before you say this. The reason why I said that is because, think about it. People who have crossed over, you don't really talk to a lot of them, all the time. At least for me, my family members, the only one that I talk to constantly for some reason is my father, because he's always with me and always will come through when I ask for him. But when I ask for other people, like my grandmother or my grandfathers, um or my friends, I don't get them to come through. It's really weird. So I wonder if being crossed over and being in there, because I know they can't mess with your physical reality because it's messing with your fate. So I'm wondering, you know, like that. That's the reason why I said that. But keep going with what you were saying. I apologize.
no, you're all right. No, it's just like you know, I'm a great one for the odd conspiracy theory and stuff like that, and for pushing the boundaries a bit further than they have been and stuff like that, and I'm my own worst enemy for even like thinking further outside the box probably than we should. You know what I mean? But I mean, who's to say that we can't, interrupt, if you want to call it fate. You know what I mean? That's use an example again. It's gonna sound stupid when I say this, but think about the bigger picture.
No, yeah.
The Back to the Future films, when when
You
he,
here?
he
Yeah, I think you're breaking up.
back and he was
Are you there?
yeah, we're back on.
Oh, yeah, we're back on. Sorry about that, everyone. Holy crap. That was
So
wild. Second.
how far did you hear? Are you there?
Oh, yep. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened. Wow, that was a weird glitch. I've never had that happen in my house because we have really good internet. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens. It happened before when we done that Spirit Box session over the phone.
Yeah, I know. I know. Anytime we talk about it here, I'm telling you, the house is really, really active. And did I ever tell you why it's active?
Yeah, I remember you mentioned it to me, but
Yeah, we moved. We were extending the room, and when we
yeah,
opened the wall up, there was a whole nother room that somebody closed off, and it had like weird pictures in it. It had people like a male's clothing in it, like all brown pants and like all different types of stuff, and like weird toys, like little tiny trinkets or whatever you want to call them, of like fire trucks, and it was creepy, dude. It was real creepy. The minute we opened it, was something definitely was there because we've been having activity ever since, and obviously plus, obviously doing spirit box sessions to communicate with it probably opened up something even more so that more spirits are coming because we've had so much activity.
yeah. No, like I was saying, I mean, who's to say that we're not supposed to change things? Who's to say that we're not supposed to, I mean, no, there's no in this field,
Yeah,
there's no manual. I mean, there's no uh, instruction book as to how to do it. So we're
no,
all
you're
just,
you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the best part and the worst part. You know what I mean? It's like you're going into it because you don't know if you're right if you get an answer, and you don't know if you're wrong if you get an answer. So that's why I like talking opinions with people, like what's their opinion, what's their belief, because I believe that we can learn, like, I believe everybody has a little tidbit of what the actual afterlife is, kind of like how the sacred books of like the Bible, the Quran, all these different religions, I believe that they all have something in them that tells something about the afterlife, of what happens when we pass away. I just believe it's spread out, in my opinion personally, because I don't believe that all just one is right. I believe there is many that is right. And but that's just my opinion. There's people that have obviously stronger opinions about just one, which I'm totally agreeable with, you know what I mean? And that's why I believe that we can learn from each other.
absolutely.
So
There's not, like I say, none of us, we've said it enough times. None of us are experts. None of us are ever going to be experts. I mean, none of us are ever going to know the full story as to what happens until we go, and then
yeah.
that's what we're going to
Huh.
find out. But the thing is, nobody in this field has came back and said, right, this is the right way of it. So, you know, like you were saying, is there certain rules you can't break, or
Yeah. Yeah.
are you hushed up a little? Nobody, are you only is your mind completely wiped apart from a few little things here and there, so that I mean, you don't know, you might come back
Well,
at
let's talk about this. Let's talk about reincarnation real quick, right? What about all these stories, these thousands of cases of little kids that they, obviously are born, and all of a sudden they get to a certain age and they start remembering, having dreams about an incident, and then all of a sudden they start growing up and the parents research everything. And next minute he was right about everything. Like, and he's only like 5 years old, and there's like a ton of kids, girls, boys, everybody. So, it's so crazy you said your mind wiped, because I believe that, when we get, brought to this place, this birth that we go through, I believe that our minds are wiped, that our consciousness is wiped through our, you know, filter of that brain. You know what I mean? Having the
yeah,
brain, the physical apparatus, or whatever you want to call it, the body.
yeah. It's like, for instance, yourself, you might be stripped right down to the fact that you're literally AJ Capasso and that's it. You know what I mean? That it doesn't. You don't know where you're from. You don't know where you've been before. You don't. What I mean. And then like someone would try and contact you, obviously, because you've passed. And like say for instance it was me, and I was trying to and you might be thinking, well, who the hell's that? Do you know what I mean? We don't know. would you be able to come through and go, hey, Robin, or we don't know this. No one
Yeah.
has came through and went and reacted and acted like they do when they're alive.
Yeah.
So this is what makes me think that it's like a factory reset button, really.
Yeah. No, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, it's wild. There's so many things that I told you that are out there. I believe that we already know scientifically that can prove about what spirit is, what the afterlife is, if consciousness moves on. And I already truly believe that consciousness obviously moves on because consciousness is just so powerful as it is, like I said. And I truly believe that, like neuroscience, a neuroscientist was saying, how our brain is a filter for consciousness, obviously. And if that's the case, imagine what if that filter wasn't on and we were able to have the full capacity. And that's why I believe that the 5% of the brain we use, the 5% brain that we use is actually that, because of that filter. But I think consciousness is so much stronger than that. I think we're more powerful than that because of the energy that we are. And I mean, it's wild to think about, man, between reincarnation, between the soul, afterlife, just everything in it. And you know it's just wild. It's wild to think about. I mean, think about just the universe in general. It's just crazy.
Do
So
you know,
it's
do you
like,
know how I can put it to you? How I can best put it to you, right? And I mean, you know me. I'm always one for a good laugh and a prank and stuff like that, right? Now, to me, if I was to go tomorrow, next week, whenever it be, what I would personally want to do is come straight back and go, "What's up, bitches? Look who's here." You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And I
yeah,
want to come back and I want to be able to come on and come in on a spirit box session of yours, or
yeah,
on camera and say, it's real. I'm here. The afterlife's real. But how many other paranormal investigators would have wanted to do that, but
yeah.
for some reason nobody has? Do you know what I mean? Whenever you go, you think to yourself, I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm trying to prove this. So when I go, I'm going to completely shatter the glass ceiling. You know what I mean? I'm going to completely uh, tear up all the books that have ever been written about it, because I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna shock everybody and I'm gonna prove to people that this does exist, that we can exist after we go.
I
But
hope. I honestly almost hope that I go before you, just so that I can come to your house and pull you out of bed and freak you the hell out at 80 years old. It's
you'll
gonna
not
be.
freak me out. I'll be loving it. I'll be like, yeah, get the camera out.
Probably would. You're sick like that. Yeah, you probably would.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? How many people would have wanted to come back and do that whenever they go, think to themselves, right? Right, I'm gonna you look at all the investigators and stuff that there's been over the years. You know,
Well, have you ever had a visitation from a loved one, like in a dream, or anyone that has passed away? Have you ever had anyone in a dream?
I've had a few dreams about people, but I wouldn't say that they're to,
They.
to me. To me, visitation in a dream has to be like, let's see.
It's
Right,
not.
right. I lost my uncle 6 years ago, right? And if I was going to have a visitation from him, to me, it would have to be a dream where I would see him and he'd be saying to me, "Look, I know that I've gone, but I'm still here. I've came to that. If I'm having a dream about years and years ago, whenever I used to live over there, and we used to go out for weekends here and there, and he used to take me fishing and stuff, then to me, that's not a visitation dream. I'm only reliving something of the past. You know what I mean? This person would have to make it sound to me that would have to basically say, look, you know, I am gone, but I'm just here to let you
Yeah.
know that I'm okay. And
No, I see. I totally get that. Now, what if there is a rule? There is some kind of rule where you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the reason why a lot of people aren't doing that. I tell you what, I've had. I mean, see, visitations when someone visits you, it's normally in a dream, and it's not normally like what you just described. Like I come back and I say, "Oh well, listen, I'm okay," blah blah blah, all this stuff. It's normally like a warm, loving embrace, or it can feel just like just a dream, and you're with that person in the dream, and you could be doing something completely normal with the dream, and that's a visitation with a loved one. And it's, it's weird to go through. I mean, you want it to be the way that you describe it, but it's not always that way.
No,
You know?
no, it's not, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating, and this is one thing about this field that really does grind to me sometimes. You know what I mean? It really it's so frustrating that what you want to happen, what you know can happen, and what you want to happen isn't what actually can happen. Well, it can happen, but it doesn't happen whenever you want it to.
No,
You know
of
what
course,
I mean?
of course not. I mean, that's just the whole nature of this field. It leaves you speechless more and more and more. It's it's rewarding in the same time as frustrating. You know what I mean? Because when
Yeah,
you get that response through a box, or you get, your K2 meter like going off, and that it's not some interference. It's, or you snap a photo. I mean, you know how that is with your photo. I mean, when you snap that photo, you were probably like, oh my God, right?
yeah. But again, this is something else that I want to say for people who are watching. You know, and this is something that I've spoke about and spoke to you about it as well before. Is when you're out investigating, do take lots of pictures, do take loads and loads of photographs. But the thing is, I've learned now not to look at them straight away. I used to go out on an investigation, and I would have took loads of pictures on my phone, and then I would have come home and would have sat and looked through them all and went, "Oh, there's nothing there." I guarantee you, a week or two later, I go through them pictures again and I'll see something, because I think on your phone it takes a while for them to fully develop.
I don't believe that. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I personally don't believe that. The technology is so high tech that when you snap that photo, it snaps that photo right then and there. So I don't think that that's the case. I just think that you have a fresh set of eyes, 2 weeks
Well,
down, and then
quite
that's.
possibly.
No, I'm just saying possibly. I mean, like I said, I mean, who knows? You could be right, but I'm just saying that technology is not like that where you're snapping digitally where it needs to develop in any way. So I
Yeah.
mean, but I tell you what though, having that fresh set of eyes though a week later can definitely probably help you, big time. Like I said, I'm not a big picture type of person. What's up, Steve-O?
Devo.
Um, I'm not a big photo type guy. I'm more of a communication because I want people to hear the response that I'm hearing as well, and I don't, that's an evidence thing for me that I love. But I've seen your photo where the one you've captured, the things you've captured, and it's like you were meant to do that. You were meant to take photographs. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to capture something even greater, which is crazy. Yes, you need to join, Steve-O. I don't know why you're not, but
Yeah, it's just, it's one of them things. I'm I try and keep it all separately. And I'll try and have it where I'll do pictures and then I'll do communication. I'll do it on the same investigation, but
yeah,
I'll do it separately, if you know what I mean. Because I
absolutely.
think if there's something there and you're going to be able to see it through either communication or through a photograph, who's to say you're not going to be able to see it through both?
No, I totally no. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. Trust me, I don't disagree with that 100%. Well, one thing that one of our viewers said, she said, I asked them first if they would like to show themselves in a picture. You can't force any spirits to do anything. You are absolutely right. You cannot force them to do anything. They are people just like we are, and they will. They even get mad at me sometimes because I always tell them I'm going to film. I always say, spirits, do you mind if I film? I'm going to record because I need to listen back to be able
But
to.
this is what I'm going back to
They get mad.
a little while ago.
get
No,
back
go
to it.
ahead.
No, sorry. Say what you were saying.
I was just saying, I was going back to a little while ago what I was saying about these investigators that to me, if it's me and I've gone and I'm in somewhere and people come in and start taking pictures, I'd be like, hey, I mean, I've been standing there for all
No,
the photographs, I mean, I'm still here, kind of thing. So this
yeah,
is what makes me wonder why, what we want to do whenever we go. Are we restricted?
yeah, yeah. That's what I wonder too. You know what I mean? I wonder, or is the experience just on its own journey? Because, like I said, when I left my body, I was brought. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't personally choose to go through a tunnel up somewhere. You know what I mean? I didn't choose to
Yeah.
go where I ended up going. Like my soul just went. So, are you on like a loop? I don't really know what you would call that. So it's pretty intense. But I mean, that's not the case because there's spirits that, obviously we talk to that travel, you know, to even where I am to speak, which is crazy because my house is like, well,
Devo.
Evo.
What's up, guys?
And I wanted to say, she said, loved ones visit all the time in dreams. I find it comforting. And like we were saying earlier, how many times, Steve-O, now that you're a part of it, how many times have you had visitations in dreams with loved ones or anything like that? Have you had any experiences?
Yeah, I just actually had one last night.
Oh man, please, would you like to tell or no?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I do that, Kelly from Rainbow Light Paranormal says hello.
Kelly.
Uh,
Well, where is she? Why is she not in here?
she's resting. We've had a long day.
Uh,
But yeah, last night, actually, I think it was early this morning, to be perfectly honest. And I remember I got a visitation from my stepmom.
oh, that's awesome.
So she was coming in and checking up on me, and it's kind of like just a second of her being here and then poof, gone, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I've had my grandfather in my dreams, my grandmother, I mean, you name it. It's even with people that are still alive, I've had visitations from them in my dreams as well. So, I mean, don't rule that out, because our souls do meet when we sleep, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of a whole other universe. So that's something to add to the topic.
No, and you know what's funny, man? Well, okay, so I personally believe that when we sleep, our brain or whatever will shut down and our soul's able to travel. Like that's how people astral travel and all that stuff like that. Like I believe that it shuts down just enough where we can be unconscious, but our body's unconscious, but our soul can travel, our consciousness can travel. Because I've seen the same thing. I've seen people that are alive in my dreams as well. And it's like, are you just dreaming that? Or is it this? But there's, like you said, you have visitations from loved ones who have passed. Like I've had a very significant one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've had your dad and your guides, and and I mean that's pretty powerful right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like as well. Like you say, whenever you fall asleep, maybe your consciousness or your soul or whatever you want to call it maybe thinks to itself, right? You're having a rest. I'm gonna go and find something else here. I'm having a bit of a break from you, while you're lying there. So
Yeah.
because they always where did the saying come from when they always say your mind wanders?
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's more than just the universal travel here. I mean, I just posted 2 sessions back to back, and I've talked about it many times. I mean, your soul even travels back to past lives. Let's get into the past lives, because I mean that's what our evolution is, right? We've lived all these lives, but now we're here to finalize of who we really are before we decide to really open up and grow when we go back, right? So
No, yeah, past lives are serious. I mean, what do you think of past lives? I mean, like we were talking, Robin. I mean, you said some stuff earlier when we were talking about reincarnation and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's I mean, how many times do you get it? Like even in the UK here, other places, when you go somewhere, and you probably got it over there in America and Canada, where you go somewhere that you physically haven't been before, but when you go there, you know your way about. Why is that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We've went places in the car over here. I've been like, found locations online, and they'll say, right, I'll take you to them, and they're going somewhere where I haven't been before, but I'm nearly able to direct them where I need to go. But why is that? I haven't been here before, or have I?
you have not per se you, but a former you has been there before.
Yeah,
You know, like I had that on a school trip one time. We went to this place in, I think it was Toronto or something, and it was kind of like back in the colony times when, like the 1800s, 1800s, and people lived together as groups. And I walked into this one building, and I knew somehow, I just knew I've been here before, and I started getting this really bad, like, gut sick feeling, like something terrible happened. Now, was it to somebody else? I don't know. Was it to me? It could have been, but it's just that feeling like I've lived this before.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, I've had that. I've had that multiple times, and it's obviously everyone's had a deja vu. You know.
But it's
It's
like it's like photographic memory.
yeah.
That's one thing that I do have is I only need to go somewhere once, and I literally would know my way about if I went back again, even 10 years time. But why is that when you're only been there once? Is it because that you've only been there once in this life, but in your past life you've been a couple of times as well? We don't know.
Right? Or you could just you just gain an attachment for it. Like
Yeah,
there's something unique about it that just kind of like this file saves to my brain memory. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just
yeah, absolutely.
you just can't stop thinking. It's like I only need to be here once. Maybe this is the experience that God or whoever was just like just go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
It could help you somewhere down along the line, or there's many different reasons for that.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. There's so much to talk about. I mean, one thing I want to say to our viewer is that she says disrespectful to treat them that way. They were once like us. My opinion. I don't know what she was taking out of context from earlier. What I said. But I don't actually treat the spirits actually at all in a bad way. They are people. They are just like us. They are consciousness. They are exactly who we are, just different people. And I treat them, with respect. I treat them with love. I don't treat them with anger. I don't ask them to do anything. I just let them talk. I ask questions, they answer. They don't want to answer, they won't. I mean, it's pretty simple. Just, I guess, fortunately for me, my house is active. And it's been active. And normally, when you have that connection, it's easy to just connect, right? Right, Steve? I mean, you've had this connection where you do your work from your house as well. And, we just treat them with respect and love because it's the
Right.
only could treat them. You treat them any other way, what are you going to get? Nothing.
Well, well, see,
Or
people got to think of it like this, and I don't mean to cut off, but people got to think of it like this: are you going to treat your higher self with disrespect? You know what I mean?
nope.
Here's the question of the day: would you treat your higher self that guides you, shows you, that just makes you completely grounded? Would you treat it any differently than you would treat spirits?
No,
Right?
I would never want to treat anyone, anybody, whether physical or non-physical, with disrespect.
Right.
You know, it earns me even when someone's disrespectful to me and I have to be disrespectful in human life. It bothers me.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't even have to be disrespectful. I mean, you could say the nicest thing, and it's going to hit them a lot harder than it would be if you were to retaliate against that person. You know what I mean? If you send out, if somebody disrespects you, but you send them off with love, that's that's going to hit them 40 times harder than it is when you're going to get into a screaming verbal match.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you're absolutely right. Hey, I just want to say to our viewers, she said, basically the way that I said it may have came off the wrong way. So she thought I was like provoking or like I was, I was expecting them to show up every time, and no, she said sorry. I said, please don't say sorry. You had all the right to say that and call me out in every which way, and that's what we like on this show. So appreciate that. But yeah, if I did say that wrong, I do apologize. That's not exactly what I meant. What I meant was that I do treat them with respect. I said I don't expect them every time. The only reason why I kind of expect them every time is because they come, not every time, but a lot of the times they come, and I'll have communication. And it's mostly because my house, they're in my house. Like I have a little child that's in my house that my whole family has seen or had an experience with, and other things. And I only try to treat it with respect because that's what this field should be about, not treating spirits with, provoking
Yeah,
them.
I'm a firm believer in that because, like I say, before I met you two, I had connection wise, I had nothing. And I still maintain to this day that somewhere down the line, us three were supposed to meet. And,
Yep.
And our connection as a group, as well as individually, has just completely and utterly taken off. I don't even think that we need to, ask for them to come or expect them to be there. I think that now, especially with our guides and stuff like that, they're just there constantly, just waiting for any questions that we need to ask them.
Yeah. I mean, how many, dude, there's been, you and John have thought that it was crazy when I first started talking to you. And I was like, yeah, I talked to my guides. And you guys are like, what are guides? And I'm like, yeah, these, spirit guides are they're, basically guardian angels or guides, whatever you would like to call them. And when I started describing it to you, and then we started getting yours through the box, it was
Yeah, I
crazy.
needed to know that was the problem with me.
That wasn't even it though. When you and John, when you guys not found your guys' names out, you guys started to actually try and use them. And then all of a sudden you started to get communication every time with them, and they would show up and help your communication. Then you were like, holy crap, he's actually telling the truth. He's not crazy. Because it sounds stupidly nuts. I mean, this field, when you talk about it, even before, in my opinion of this field, it sounds crazy. It sounds friggin' nuts. I'm not gonna
Everything
lie.
sounds nuts in it.
It does. It does.
But
But
the
that's
thing is, it's like you look at, like, for instance, Steve-O, your setup, your portal, your box thing you have, and you think to yourself, how could you possibly get answers out of that? But you do,
yeah.
Right.
because we as a group, as in humans, we have figured out a way to to sort of help, like being an intermediate kind of thing. We've found a way to sort of help them manipulate frequencies and waves and stuff so that they can. And all we had as humans had to do was build the actual the box and say, right here, use that. And
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just the single person or the unit. I know unit's a pretty big word in the paranormal as well. But see, that's why when I started my journey, that I didn't want it just to be about the guides. I didn't want to be about the angels or the spirits. I didn't want them lining up at the door as everybody has, like get in a line and wait your turn to speak. I didn't want that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I came up with the circle, because not is it only evolution in the spirit world, but it's evolution in our world, right? Because we're all formed as one, where everybody's joined together. We're just the pillar. We're the pillar in the middle of that circle, right? And we're just being guided in the right way. And nobody has to wait a turn. Nobody has to feel like they got to push through and try to get that message. You know what I mean? It's, if you got something to say, just say it. It's open floor.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had to know the names. That was one thing, at the start. I obviously believe that everybody has their three guides, and then if you have angels and stuff on top of that. But I needed to know. It's stupid probably, but I needed to know who I was talking to.
Mhm.
I needed to know who the names of them, so that I didn't feel comfortable basically saying, right, any of you three up there, and talking like that. I needed to know names before I could start using them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not all angels or guides have names. You got to remember that too, right?
Yeah.
But they think like us. They know everything going on. Everything's always recorded. They record everything. They watch everything. So when people are like, they can hear us, they can see us.
Mm.
Yeah. How do you think they can say stuff through your box or your PSP 7 or whatever it is you're using? And it's very infinite for you in that moment because like you only knew that or you'd only told a certain person, right? But they're saying it through the box and they're like, how they know, right? Just kind of puts you in that moment.
See, I wish that I can get into more of a subject about communication right now with you guys, but I have to go to Paranormal, the New Normal podcast on Parapost right now to talk about conspiracies with Jeremy and a group of people. But I tell you, man, it's so crazy because talking about energy and talking about how communication works, you know how we always see, like, well, not always see, but you know how sometimes we'll see, especially on ghost shows, you'll see where um, a ball of, an orb will come flying out of the spirit box, the PSP, stuff like that. Well, I've caught that myself. And I know you've probably caught that too, Steve, something going in your box or in your head or whatever it is. But I
Right.
think that right there is how they speak. I believe that ball of energy is what consciousness, their consciousness is. And I believe they can shoot it into that box. And that's how that voice comes out by, manipulating that frequency. But it's so crazy because you get some amazing stuff. And, the methods that you use are just absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome.
And that's why I do it that way. I mean, I do it to show that it works and that if it's helping me, it can help you. That's why I'm so stern about the way I do things, right? Because I know it works, but it just takes practice, right? So if I were to do a session with Robin and Robin's like, oh, I'm just so confused, it's so frustrating, I'm not getting what I want. It's like,
Yeah.
take your time, be patient, have no expectations, only your purpose and your intent for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And once you let go of that, that's it. It's all magic from there.
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, our viewer said, I have 3 loved ones in my place that are here. They make themselves known, but I asked them, if you have something to do, I will not keep you here. And she said, did I say that right? And absolutely. Basically, it's great that you have 3 loved ones there. I think that that's so cool, and they're not going to obviously be bound there in any way because, I mean, but I totally get what you mean that you will not keep them because when we went to Montana State Prison, I didn't want to, I wanted to cross every spirit that I possibly could over, and the place didn't want us to, but I did anyway. I tried to at least as many as I could, and hopefully I did, at least some help. But yeah, you never want to keep them there. You want to let them go and do their thing, and they will. So, but
Absolutely.
guys, thank you for coming on, and
No
we'll definitely.
problem.
And we got a lot more to talk about. We got communication to talk about. I want to talk about thoughts and energy and thought, and talk about more like about that, about energy, and just about spirits, angels, all that kind of stuff, and see what we can, come up about, and see what we can talk about and learn. But we appreciate everyone who's watching. This has been another episode of Talking with the Source. My name is AJ Capasso. I'm here with my good friend.
It's Robin.
Devo.
And thank you so much for watching another episode of Talking with the Source.
See you later.